All right, ready to dive into some seriously cool stuff for teaching and learning English.
Always.
Today we're going to be checking out ESL games and activities.
Sounds fun.
It is, and we're using teachthis.com as our main source here.
I've heard good things about them.
Oh yeah, it's a website just packed with ideas for making ESL classrooms, well, awesome.
Awesome is good.
Yeah.
Especially for learning a language. Sometimes it can be,
A little dry. Yeah, I hear ya. But these games, I think they're onto something.
what have they got?
They've got everything organized by skill level, which is really helpful.
So like what, for beginners, intermediate, all that?
Exactly. We're talking action-verb races for
All right,
beginners.
it's action verb races.
Okay.
I'm picturing something kind of fun.
Oh, it is. And then for the pre-intermediate folks, you've got things like true or false sentence games.
So they're leveling up the complexity as you go.
That's the idea.
Color.
And, it's not just about the fun factor, though. That's definitely a big part of it.
Right. Because if it's not fun, who's going to want to do it?
Exactly. But they've also got all these testimonials from teachers all over the world.
Oh, so they've actually used this stuff in their classrooms.
Yeah, and they're raving about it.
What are they saying?
Well, there's this one teacher, Jose Pinto, in Timor-Leste.
Timor-Leste. Wow.
He says his students, they're so into these games, they don't want to miss class.
That's impressive.
It is. And then you've got Carrie Brook-Meller over in the UK.
Okay, across the globe then.
Right. She talks about how the speaking activities, they helped her intermediate students get ready for their exams.
See, that's the thing. Games can be really effective teaching tools.
Totally. And I think it ties into this whole trend of gamification. Have you heard about that?
Yeah, gamification. It's everywhere these days.
Taking elements of games and using them in other contexts, like education.
And it makes sense, right? Because our brains, we love a good challenge. We love to win.
We're wired for it, especially when it comes to learning.
Think about it. When you're playing a game, you're focused, you're engaged, you're actually having fun while you're learning.
And that's when the magic happens.
Totally.
So back to teachthis.com, they've got this whole suite of resources beyond just the games themselves.
Oh, really? Like what?
Worksheets, lesson plans, even ebooks.
Wow, so it's kind of like a one-stop shop for ESL teachers?
That's exactly it. And they cater to all sorts of teaching styles and experience levels.
So whether you're a newbie or a seasoned pro, there's something there for you.
You got it. Now, let's get down to brass tacks here.
Okay, what's the deal?
Why are these games so darn effective?
Good question. I think part of it is that they take the pressure off.
Right. It's not like a stuffy old classroom drill.
You're not just memorizing verb conjugations from a textbook.
Been there, done that.
You're actually using the language in a fun and engaging way.
Plus, there's that element of, healthy competition.
Oh yeah, little friendly rivalry, never hurt anyone.
Exactly. It pushes you to do your best and to, actually try to use the language correctly.
And when you're actively participating, rather than just passively listening, you're much more likely to learn and remember the information.
It's like your brain's actually firing on all cylinders.
Totally. Plus, let's not forget the power of laughter.
Yeah,
Right?
oh yeah. Learning should be fun.
When you're enjoying yourself, you're more relaxed, you're more open to new information.
And you're less likely to be afraid of making mistakes, which is huge in language learning.
Absolutely. And speaking of making things easy, the teachthis.com website itself is super user-friendly.
Oh yeah, super organized.
They've got everything neatly categorized by language level, elementary, pre-intermediate.
And then they break it down even further by skill focus.
Hmm.
Grammar, vocabulary, functional language, you name it.
It's like a personalized library of ESL resources.
And the best part, they offer both free and paid resources.
Ooh, I like that. Accessible for everyone.
Exactly. No matter your budget, you can find something to help you create a more engaging and effective learning environment.
It's really cool to see how they've put so much thought into making this accessible to everyone.
It is. And it really comes through in those teacher and student testimonials.
People are actually seeing real results with this stuff.
They are. So what does this all mean for you, our listener?
Well, it means that learning English doesn't have to be a drag.
It can be an adventure.
A chance to play, to explore, to connect with others in a meaningful way.
Then to laugh a little along the way.
Always.
So if you're feeling stuck in a rut with your English learning or teaching,
Remember the power of games.
they can truly transform the learning experience.
And teachthis.com is a fantastic place to start.
Definitely check them out. But before you do, I want to leave you with a little something to think about.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
If you could design the perfect ESL game,
Ooh, now that's a challenge.
it is. What would it look like? What magical elements would make it both educational A&D, totally captivating. Designing the perfect ESL game, phew, that's a tall order, isn't it?
It is a challenge,
Huh.
but I think it's a really fun one to consider. I mean, it really gets you thinking about, like, the core of how we learn best.
Totally. And it kind of pushes us to think outside the box, beyond the textbooks and worksheets and all that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. What would it actually take to make a game that's both, like, genuinely fun and effective for language learners? That's the key.
Absolutely. Well, for me, I think you would have to seamlessly blend learning and entertainment. Does that make sense?
Totally, totally. So it can't feel like, oh, I'm stuck in another boring lesson.
Exactly. It's got to be something you're drawn to. So maybe something like a virtual reality adventure game.
Ooh, VR. Okay, I'm listening.
Yeah, where you'd have to actually use your English skills to navigate different scenarios to get through the game.
Oh, I love that. Imagine, like, exploring a bustling marketplace and you have to haggle with vendors in English to get the best price.
Yes. Or ordering food at a restaurant. Or maybe you've got to give a presentation all in English.
Ooh, high stakes.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I think the VR thing, that immersive element, that could be really powerful for language learning because you're not just, like, reading about it in a book.
You're living it.
Yeah, and wouldn't it be cool if there was a multiplayer element too, so learners could, like, team up with each other or challenge each other?
Oh, yeah. A little healthy competition is always a good thing.
It definitely boosts engagement, right?
Yeah.
As long as it's, a supportive environment.
Yeah.
We don't want anyone feeling intimidated.
Right. Gotta keep it fun and friendly.
Yeah.
But that element of challenge, I think that's important.
I agree. Makes you want to push yourself further. And you know what else would be huge? Personalization.
Oh, tell me more.
Like, the game should be able to adapt to each learner's individual level and their learning style. Because we all learn differently, right?
Totally. A one-size-fits-all approach just doesn't work for language learning. We've got different strengths, weaknesses, things we enjoy.
And the ideal game would recognize those differences and kind of tailor the experience to each person.
Okay, so we've got immersive scenarios, a little friendly competition, personalized learning paths. What else can we throw into the mix?
What about a really robust feedback system? Like, imagine as you're playing the game, it's giving you real-time corrections and suggestions.
Ooh, that's good.
So you can fine-tune your pronunciation, your grammar, your vocabulary as you go.
Almost like having a virtual ESL tutor right there with you, guiding you along.
Exactly. And maybe even a reward system,
Yeah.
if you level up or you unlock new challenges and content as you progress.
Ooh, yeah. Badges, achievements, leaderboards, all that good stuff that taps into that gamification love we were talking about.
Exactly. It's all about tapping into that intrinsic motivation, that desire to improve and get better.
Man, it's crazy to think how technology really revolutionized the way we learn languages.
It really is. And who knows, maybe someday this perfect ESL game will actually exist.
Fingers crossed. But even if it doesn't, even just brainstorming like this, it's so valuable.
Oh, absolutely. It makes us think critically about what actually works for language learning and how we can make it more engaging, more enjoyable.
So the perfect ESL game, it might still be a work in progress.
But I think the ideas we've talked about today, they're a pretty good place to start. And the main takeaway, I hope, is that learning English, it doesn't have to be a chore.
It can be an adventure
It can be fun.
filled with discovery and, yeah, even a few laughs along the way.
Speaking of laughs,
Yeah.
have you heard about the ESL student who... Speaking of laughs, have you heard about the ESL student who... Oh man, this is a good one. They tried to order a hamburger, but accidentally asked for a handsome burger.
Oh, I think I've heard that one. It's a classic, isn't it? It just goes to show, even mistakes can be these little moments for learning.
And for a good laugh, too, which is always nice.
Totally. And I think it kind of reminds us that language learning, it's a journey, not a destination.
Oh, okay.
You're going to hit bumps in the road, make a few funny mistakes along the way.
It's all part of the process, right?
Exactly. But hey, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, haven't we?
We have. All these ESL games and activities, it's been a whirlwind.
It has. And we started off, looking at teachthis.com, those resources they've got.
Yeah, all those action verb races,
Right.
the mime games that move it.
Yeah.
One, so many creative ideas.
So many. And we talked about how those games can really help with vocabulary, grammar, becoming more fluent in conversations.
And how they make learning more fun, more engaging. That's key.
Totally. We even got into the nitty-gritty of the science behind all this, like gamification and how it works.
Oh, yeah, all that dopamine stuff.
Yeah.
It's fascinating how our brains are wired for that sense of reward and achievement.
It is. And then we took it a step further, right? Started dreaming up the perfect ESL game
Oh yeah, our virtual reality extravaganza.
with personalized learning paths, real-time feedback, and a whole bunch of friendly competition.
It was a good brainstorming session.
It was. But, before we sign off here, I want to leave our listeners with one last thing to think about.
Okay, shoot.
Imagine you're trying to, introduce someone to the English language for the very first time.
To the beauty of it all.
Exactly. What would you say to really get them excited, to spark that passion for learning?
Ooh, that's a good one. What would make them want to dive right in?
Would you talk about all the, amazing literature that's out there in English? Or maybe the ability to connect with people from all corners of the globe?
Maybe I'd talk about how the language is always evolving,
Yeah.
It's alive, it's changing, adapting to all these new ideas.
Or maybe you'd share a personal story like how learning English has impacted your own life.
Yeah, opened up doors, broadened perspectives, all that.
Exactly. I think the important thing is to really get across that sense of wonder.
The magic of language.
Yeah, that ability to communicate, to connect with others.
Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, right?
It is. Learning English, it's so much more than memorizing a bunch of rules.
It's about opening up a whole new world of possibilities.
It really is. So, to all our listeners out there on your language learning journey, embrace those challenges. Celebrate the little victories.
And never stop exploring.
Keep that curiosity alive. And who knows, maybe someday you'll be the one sharing your own English language adventures with the world.
Inspiring others.
Until next time, happy learning, everyone.